Let's cross to Adelaide now and catch up with my former boss and the former Foreign Minister of this great nation, Alexander Downer. Good to talk to you, Alexander. Your whole working life, you've been dealing with the imbroglios that are thrown up by the Middle East, and you've been a strong friend of Israel's and been there many times, of course, but even you surely couldn't have dreamed of that announcement and the way it was delivered and the scope of it yesterday from Donald Trump.
No, I watched the press conference myself. Donald Trump and Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, and I've never seen anything like it. But I mean, good luck to him, because he is right. The status quo is finished. There is no point. There is no point in continuing to promote exactly the same formula, which has led to exactly the same results, which is you get a ceasefire, a bit of time elapses, and then the fighting starts again. Then there's another ceasefire, time elapses, and then the fighting starts again. People are dying. Gaza is not prospering. The Palestinian people are not prospering. And so I don't think in detail this is what will happen, what Trump announced, but I do think it was a wonderful case of a leader disrupting the status quo when it's clear the status quo won't work anymore.
Yeah, I think there are a number of fundamental aspects to it, and if you break it right down, surely everybody who wants to see peace and recovery there has to understand, firstly, you need to rebuild Gaza and provide security there. Now, obviously, because of the political situation, Israel, they don't want Israel doing that, and Israel probably hasn't got a willingness to do that. And because of the way the UN has failed repeatedly in that area, especially in southern Lebanon, you wouldn't trust the UN to run it. The fact that Trump says the US is prepared to lead that task, whether it's with other nations or not, surely the whole of the world should welcome that.
Yeah, look, there are essentially three things that have to be done here. One is Iran has to understand that this is the end of the game of them using these proxies and arming these proxies to attack Israel. And Trump has made that perfectly clear. Plus, he said they will never have a nuclear weapon. And we all know what that means. Secondly, you have to get the moderate Arab states engaged. That's Egypt, Jordan, importantly, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and so on. You've got to get them to buy in to solving this problem with the United States. And there's no point in just rebuilding Gaza for the Palestinians to launch another war against the Israelis and Gaza be levelled again. You have to find a completely new political settlement there. Everything has been tried. Politicians are just giving us empty words about two-state solutions, and they have no idea how that could ever be achieved. Trump is saying we need a completely new approach to this. How that will work out, well, time will tell.
Well, just on three of those crucial countries, with Jordan and Egypt, assuredly he's trying to drag them in for at least temporarily accommodating some Palestinians from Gaza, which helps to draw them into actually taking some responsibility for Palestinians. And surely with Saudi Arabia, if he can get them to buy in, the key thing they can contribute, apart from their sort of moral support, will be money.
Look, I think there are real difficulties with all of this. The Jordanians and the Egyptians don't want Palestinians to move into Jordan and Egypt because the Palestinians are so radicalised. I mean, these are Islamists. They don't want hardcore Islamists moving into their territory and having to deal with that problem. So there are some real political difficulties for them there, and I'm not unsympathetic. But you're right. Those countries, plus the rich Gulf states, and Qatar should be included in that as well, have to be involved with the Americans in putting together a political settlement and then, I mean, the rebuilding of Gaza. Not until you have a political settlement is there any point in spending money on the rebuilding of Gaza. And if I can just make one other point, you want the UN right out of this. The UN has destroyed its credibility in the Middle East, and they will have no influence, and in future they should have no real role. They have destroyed their credibility.
Alexander Downer, thanks so much for those insights. Strong words there from Alexander Downer when it comes to the UN.